Whenever you ready, Ms. Trika, you
We're-
can call the meeting to order.
Okay, we're ready.
Roll call.
Ms. Gamblin,
Present.
Ms. Johnson,
Here.
Ms. Warner,
Here.
Mr. Shara,
Here.
Ms. Mazunga.
Here.
Okay, because this is adjudication hearing, and if you're wishing to give testimony, I need for you to raise your right hand to be sworn in. So do you testify that you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
You're all sworn in.
The approval of the April 29th, 2025 meeting, the minutes. Everybody has had a chance to look at them. Were there any questions or anything?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the April 29th, 2025 meeting minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Okay.
So first up on the agenda, we will have Ms. Debbie Eversole with Community Development come in and tell you a little bit about the beautification loan. At the last meeting, some people had questions how she determined granting applicants and granting money.
We had that question and then just wanted to figure out, are they coming to you?
Okay.
So that was another question that we had.
All right. Yeah, good news is we do have people coming to us. So I am here to, every once in a while, I pop in and just remind everybody that we do have this program available. So I'll introduce myself as Debbie Eversole. I work in the Community Development Department, and I do administer the Housing Development and Beautification Program. It is grant assistance for eligible property owners. Basically, it's assistance to improve the outside or the exterior of your home. The annual amount budgeted for the program has been historically $400,000 per year. This is divided $100,000 for home purchase assistance and then $300,000 for improvements. So this marks the 10th year that this particular program has been in place. It started in 2016, and happily, I report that we have helped at least 82 properties with code violations since 2016. Yeah, sure.
So, because that was hard to hear.
I know, I'm sorry.
Those two sets of numbers, can you run those again, what the
Yeah.
100,000 is for and what the 300,000?
Yeah, this program does offer a $5,000 grant for people that want to purchase a home. So that is set aside as different qualifications. That's $100,000. So, we award 20 grant applicants for that. So $300,000 is specifically for improvements.
If I may, I have a question. Is that cumulative or is that an annual allotment?
Annual.
100,000 and 300,000 annually available?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So in 2023, it was requested that we carve out a portion of this $300,000 specifically for people with code violations. This has been practiced for the last 3 years, and in 2023, we assisted 10 properties. The total assisted was $22,000. In '24, we only had 4 properties that were assisted for $12,000, and then so far in '25, we have 4 properties, and the total allocated for those improvements are $12,800. It is important to note 3 things, though. The grant funding will not roll over if it's not spent. And number 2 is that not all code violations will be eligible for this particular program. And then 3rd is that funding is not intended to cover 100% of a project. Some of the eligible projects include paint and siding, gutters and downspouts, windows and roof. Ineligible projects include detached garages, foundations, and improvements that generally cannot be seen from the street. So I did place the exterior repair program at your seats today, so that you can look at that a little bit further if you need to. And then lastly, I do want to say that the compliance office does an amazing job at referring this and other programs to people that have code violations. So I didn't want that part to go unnoticed. And then that's really all I have to report on. I just wanted to, just keep everybody informed that the program is still, helping people with code violations, and we want to continue to do that. So I can answer any additional questions. Sure.
Is it income-based?
No, not income-based.
Question number 2.
Sure.
Can it be rental property?
Okay, that's where in 2024, so this is the second year, we did include only owner-occupied properties. So, and we do notice that last year and this year, we still have funds available. It's almost August and we have funds available. In the past, the funds would run out in April. So we would allow 3 rental properties in the past. So,
Debbie, so to get this straight, we had this small pot of money, okay? I think it's $25,000 this year, correct? Okay. So if we were to refer someone to you, they cannot have any violations? Because I thought when we first started this, if they had some violations, we still could help them.
oh yeah, this program was designed back in 16 to help people with code violations.
So once they get into the violations and they have fines, we can still help them?
Well, if they do owe back fines, then, we ask them to pay anything that's delinquent, water, if they have city taxes, if they have county taxes. We want them to be current with all of their obligations, whether it be administrative fines or...
So if they're behind in fines or taxes or whatever, that has to be completely cleared, but they're still eligible after that for a grant?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
We've had a couple of people come through that could have used grant funding, but they couldn't provide matching funds. Is there any discussion about expanding it to have some of those people that can't provide the match to have repairs done?
I don't think that discussion has been had yet, but
Okay.
it doesn't mean that we wouldn't.
Okay. I was just thinking about like 2 or 3 cases in particular that they just couldn't even come up with the match to
Yeah,
get the
at this
repairs done.
time, the program is just, we're using the program as it's laid out.
Okay.
So if another program needed to be, created, or if modifications needed to be made, it would definitely go through a higher administration, city manager, or commission.
For me.
If there's,
Well, I thank you, Ms. Debbie.
thank
So
you. Thank you for having me.
If something comes up, I will reach out to you.
All
I
right,
appreciate it.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda would be old business. You all were going to vote on the summarization of repairs form.
You just lost me on that. What you said?
This form, we're gonna,
Oh, the
Yeah,
summarization
yeah.
sheet?
Yeah.
Okay. I see that it was attached to something we had today, but, this is what we talked about, so, do you
I'd-
have any comments about it?
I'd like to make a motion to approve summarization as it's presented.
Okay, it's been moved in second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Gamblin?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Shara?
Yes.
Ms. Mazuka?
Yes.
Motion passes.
So this is going to be effective at our next meeting then, correct? This is going to be
It'll
filled
a
out?
cover- It'll be a cover sheet for any cases coming before you, any more new cases.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the new, I mean, I'm just clarify, so we don't have to worry about like a case that we are rehearing. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is the case from 1428 Erie Boulevard. With this case, you were calling it back for an update on the remaining repairs and to rule on the $500 second administrative penalty.
Hi, Ron Snyder, Inspector for the City of Sandusky Code Compliance Office. Ms. Williamson took care of that issue. That case has since been closed. Just reporting back to you that she fulfilled her obligation to our office. So.
Okay, so are we looking do we have to vote to expunge this $500?
I believe
Or was that voted in with our motion last time?
There would need to be a motion made for the appeal. Her appeal was never granted or denied. It was just a matter of whether or not she was going to have the obligation taken care of prior to this meeting.
And she has fulfilled her obligation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to grant the appeal.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposed?
Ms. Gamblin?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Sharrod?
Yep.
Ms. Mazunga?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item is new business. We have case number EN 23-0650. Anna Marie and Arthur Liston are appealing to the third administrative penalty for property address 1310 Putnam Street, Sandusky, Ohio, 44870, parcel number 58-02-514.000.
Good evening again, Ron Snyder, Inspector for the City of Sandusky Code Compliance Office. So the concerns or issues with this said property started on April 18th of 2023. Just to let the board know, that would have been 2 years, 3 months, and 11 days ago. All right.
Can you speak up, Ron?
Sure,
in that
I'll get a little
microphone?
closer. So while I was out in the field, noted the said property had a number of issues that were visible and were concerning. One of such issues was the foundation. Again, we look at issues regarding the foundations not necessarily as it's a structural hindrance to the property, rather than we need to make sure that it's watertight, weathertight, and rodent-proof. So that would have been the first thing noted. The residence was absent gutters. Now in the presentation, it's where required. I'm going to take you back to the initial photo. You'll notice that the structure itself has more of a barn appearance to that. So there was only one particular area there to the back side of the house where there's a small addition on that would really require that gutter and spout issue. Along with that gutter, of course, no gutter, no downspout. Noted a number of areas where the residents and the accessory building, initially it was believed, I thought it was a garage, but Mr. Liston had corrected me on that issue. It's more of an accessory building to that backside. Paint was coming off. Paint was missing. It just needed some covering on it. Upper deck on the railings, front porch pillars, window trim, door trim, fascia boards. There was some missing panels of plywood on the upper level. When we get to the photos here, we'll see those. Siding above the door entrance on the north side was attached or unaffixed. It was causing a gap, exposing subsurface above the side door. The garage or accessory building had blistered cracked paint, same as the residence, north and south sides, door trim, window trim, fascia boards. So the photos there is of the foundation. That would be in your PowerPoint presentation as well. Photos here are of the upper left is going to be the accessory building. Photo below that is where that gutter should be applied or installed. And the photo to the right is going to be the opposite side of the structure, and again, showing no gutter, no downspout. This would be the front of the residence, would be facing the west side. You'll see that the panels were missing, the guardrails or the railing were in need of paint, the pillars as well. Window trim, both sides of the residence. Areas above the door there on that north side. Again, the paint concerns on that accessory building. We also got missing panels above that man door on the north side of the structure. And again, this would be the south side of that structure. The west side of that accessory building, that wood is untreated. And if we did nothing's put on that, that's just gonna get deteriorated. So a letter was sent to the owners on April 18th, showing certified and certificate of mail. On April 26th, I had a voicemail from Ms. Liston. However, when an attempt was made to call her back, I didn't get an answer, and there was no further follow-up on her end on this. Let me go back here, I apologize. So on April 27th, an attempt was made to call her back. Right? Still no contact with the property owners as of the next available date. Due to the fact that the residence was written in the wintertime, I pushed them out till May due to weather. Still no contact by the property owners concerning that property. No progress toward compliance. Taking into consideration that weather might have played a part in that, I went ahead and granted them an extension. June 28th of 2023, another inspection date. Still no contact from the owners, no progress. The first administrative penalty was administered for $100. As indicated, that still is outstanding, has not been paid. Next available inspection came on August 1st, 2023. As indicated prior to, owners made no attempt to contact me. There was no progress toward any kind of compliance. A second administrative penalty was issued, this time for $500. That has yet to be paid. August 7th would have been the next date. I'm sorry, no, on August 7th, when I came back to work, Mr. Liston had attempted to call me, left a message. I recontacted him and we spoke regarding the property. The next available date for an inspection, September 5th, 2023, and we did have some progress on that property. October 11th, again, inspection, no progress. I granted an extension per Mr. Liston's request. November 14th, 2023, slight progress observed, granted an extension, basically pushed them out till spring. We were into that time frame of cold weather, exterior work not so advantageous. So March 27th was that next date, and there was no progress. We were still having cold weather. A lot of the exterior things that needed to be done weren't going to be able to get done due to the weather. I granted an extension. May 23rd, 2024, small amount of progress observed, and again, I granted the extension. The next available, our next inspection date, July 1st, 2024, again, a little bit of progress was noted, right? So I went ahead and granted that extension. August 1st, 2024, no progress. I granted the extension. I spoke with Mr. Liston concerning this. He had indicated he had been attending to interior things. He had a priority that came up in regards to a broken water line. It's understandable that that took a priority over the exterior things at this point. I went ahead and granted that extension. He also indicated that his job had pulled him away a number of times. He just hasn't been able to get here from his home in Lakewood. September 3rd, 2024 was an inspection date. The voicemail, Mr. Liston asking for an extension. attempted to make contact with him. I got no answer. There was no progress due to basically working on items not documented issues, so the same could be rented. So it's indicating their priorities, but just from dealing with this property over the amount of time that we've had, it seemed like there was more of an interest to make sure that we could get the interior items done so we could get it rented versus using the time available through the summer months of getting these exterior things. He would have, I believe that he had enough time during the winter months to work on his interior issues. There again, attempt was made to recontact Mr. Liston, unanswered message left, but I granted the extension because he had asked for that said extension. October 14th, 2024, again, no progress toward compliance. Given the benefit of the doubt, granted an extension. November 13th, 2024, contacted by Mr. Liston concerning upcoming inspection. Had indicated that he had went ahead and reinstalled the guardrails or the railings up on the upper level and painted those. He asked for an extension until spring 2025. I didn't have an issue. He showed some progress, and we were getting into the winter months. Over the winter, he said he and his wife were going to have conversations. They were contemplating selling the property. Informed him I would grant the extension. May 15th, per my word there, the extension granted. May 7th was the next inspection. Prior to the said inspection, no communication on the property status, whether they were selling or not. Granted an extension, we were still getting a lot of rain. So, June 10th, inspection date. Again, no contact from the Listons on the said property. The inspection yielded no progress since November of 2025. You can see here on June 10th, 2025, we still have the concerns with the aesthetic look of the accessory building. There's still no gutter, no downspout on that east side. As indicated prior to, he did put those guardrails back up, got those panels put in place. Still have paint concerns on the south side. And the accessory building still with paint or aesthetic concerns. And that's the area where that gutter should be going. June 10th, same date, third penalty was issued.
EJ Brinson.
This time, $1,000 penalty. On the left is the penalty evaluation certificate of mail. I'm sorry. June 20th, we received notification from Mr. and Mrs. Liston that they were requesting to file an appeal. I believe the appeal is in your packet. I would ask that you make note of the things that Mr. Liston is claiming or said that he has accomplished, and note the fact that a lot of them are the interior issues that could have been done on a more appropriate time schedule. Again, I believe that if they would have been done during the months that would have allowed him to do that, I think the work would have been done. This case would have probably been closed way before now. My question, I guess, miscellaneous, is why no communication from November until now? I had never denied him any requests for extensions. There was just no communication on their end at all. This is where the Listons live. It's a nice house. It's well kept. However, the property in Sandusky is not well kept. So, do I have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's left to do here?
He has paint on the accessory building. He's got missing wood on the accessory building. He has, and that's a lot of like the siding, the upper on the accessory building, it's going to be all the upper level. on two ends, the north and south ends, fascia boards, window trim, door trim. On the residence, he still has some painting to do, and he needs to install a gutter and a downspout.
Okay, he mentioned selling the property. If he sells the property, what happens to the code violations?
If they were to sell the said property, right, the case gets closed. It doesn't abolish any fines that they would owe. It just means that we would close that case, wait for the new owner, and then give them an opportunity to go ahead and fix these issues. I can't hold a new buyer responsible for a certain amount of time, give them an opportunity to do that.
Okay, so he still owes the fines if he sells it, but then the violations are still there and they transfer over to the new owner?
They would be there, but what we would do is have a conversation with the new owner, let them know there were code violations upon sale, which should be disclosed by a realtor if that happens, right? We just give them an opportunity to start to address them. So that would go into a file that I would keep. I would wait maybe 2 or 3 months, depending upon weather. I would start looking at the property again to see if they're making those corrections, and if not, then the property would be rewritten under the new owner's name.
So the seller and owner would have to negotiate those violations?
Something that had to be disclosed during that sale. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It looks like he's not communicating very well with you, and that doesn't sit right. And he hasn't paid his first 2 fines of $100 and $500. Do you know why, or?
That would probably be a better question
Okay.
to ask Mr. Liston.
So Mr. Liston is here.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to step up to, and please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Arthur Liston, and the address here in Sandusky is 1310 Putnam Avenue.
Okay. So I'm going to start out with a couple of questions, well, maybe 2 main questions, but the biggest question is, I counted at least 8 extensions that you've had between 2023 to 2025.
Ron has been great as far as that's concerned, correct?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ron has been great as far as that's concerned, correct?
I just want to know, why haven't you been in touch with him so that he could work with you? It seems like he had been working with you, but
I didn't realize I didn't know he was contacting me earlier this year, or trying to contact me. I mean, my work schedule and family obligations are very hard to make it to come out here.
so, well, if you live on Buckingham, that's in Sandusky. So,
Oh, I don't live at Putnam. I live in Lakewood, Ohio. I'm an hour away, over an hour away.
okay.
This house was originally purchased in 2021. The house was abandoned for over 6 years, if not even more. The house was in terrible disarray. We bought it because my son had a job here and he wanted to move to Sandusky. So we bought a fixer-upper and we did quite a bit of work on the inside. I mean, the inside was completely gutted for the most part, brand new kitchen throughout. And yes, I could do some of these things in the winter, but again, it's very hard to be out here every weekend. I mean, even the last few weekends when my wife and I came out here, most times we have to like cut the grass and do stuff like that, which takes away from trying to do exterior work. You know, so it's very, my time is very limited to be out here.
So what is your plan with this house?
We've talked about selling it. I don't want to rent it because I don't want to be a landlord who, you know, like a bad landlord, so I don't want to get involved with renting it. We have talked about selling it, but again, the last few months, this whole basically summer has gone by very fast, and we just haven't pulled the trigger on putting it on the market. We have talked to the realtor that we bought the house through originally, and we're supposed to actually be talking to him again later this week or early next week about, you know, what to do to get that process started.
Well, I have questions. I'm just gonna reel it back. You have 3 administrative penalties, and today you're here for the
The,
actual third.
so the first two, we did not even realize we had those until the second one came. And that's when I finally got, I think, in touch with Ron. I don't know how, like where it was sent or whatever, but I didn't even realize that those two happened at the time. And then, since that time, since the first time I spoke with Ron, I started doing, work as I could. Some of the issue is when Ron got to us with these, if you look at some of those photos, it might not show it, but that outer building, which really at this point is not my was never really my biggest concern, but I reframed and re-roofed, not just shingled, but reframed and resheeted and, roofed that whole outbuilding. I guess you can call it a shed because there's no garage door. It's just two small man doors, even though it's a fairly good size property. And then I've done a number of other things like doors, windows, and I did seem to fix, looking at his original thing, the space around the rear door was fixed, the painting up front, except I have the last two pieces up front. I think he showed you the newest picture.
You still got quite a bit of work to do, so.
On the outer building, there's a lot of work. On the house, I did the foundation.
But it still gotta get done. Still gotta get done.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not trying to get out of doing the work. I'm just saying it's hard for me. Again, we've taken a project that was pretty much, a ruined property in your community, and I'm trying to make it better. I'm not trying to get out of anything.
And I commend you for that. But I'm gonna ask any of my other board members if they have any questions.
Yeah, I do have one
Okay.
question. What's your timeline? What's your estimate?
Well, I was thinking,
Accomplished.
I was thinking this year, like by the end of October, I should be able to have the peak, the gutter work done, and the outbuilding at least started. And I was thinking by the end of the year, I would have this complete as far as what I know. So, because the what's left on the house, from my understanding, is the top peak needs finished painted, and then the gutter in the back of the house. So that would be the east side of the house.
So you wouldn't reach 100% until,
December.
Probably by the end of the year. And one of the problems is because like right now, the next 2 months, I have to work out of town. So it leaves me very, very little time to put here. So I won't be back until October. I'll be cutting grass and things like that, but as far as, 8 hours a day for a weekend each day, I won't have that time until October.
and you haven't looked into getting local contractors to assist you?
I don't have the money for that, when you talk to contractors, I'm in contracting, and I know the pricing, it's like, I don't have the money, for that. And that's one reason why I haven't tried to rent it out, because I'm not trying to rent out some dilapidated building to somebody.
Sharon got a question, then Lisa. Sharon?
Yeah, I have several questions.
Okay, well, we ain't gonna do all of them though, but go ahead. Hit what you gonna hit. Hit the good ones. Hit the good
Okay.
ones.
Somebody said 8 extensions, it's 12. I counted 12 extensions over, this has been going on for 2 years now.
Yes, yeah.
Extension after extension after extension. You have the third fine now. You said you weren't aware of the fines, but you did call him on the fines. Why didn't you pay it at that time? You owe $600 right now besides the $1,000. The $1,000 is still hanging out there yet, but I'm talking about the $600. Did you pay that?
I have not.
Why?
I've not paid that, just lack of money. Most money that I have for this house, I try to put into the house.
Okay, you say you haven't been getting the mail. We're sending this registered mail to you. Someone had to sign for that registered mail.
Up until, once everything after that $500 one, I've got correct.
Hold on, Sharon, for a minute.
Wait a minute, I'm still
Wait,
going on.
let Lisa get her question.
Okay.
Scott. Go ahead, Lisa.
So it seemed like for the first part of this case, you were making a lot of progress on these, and I noted at least, I mean, there might have been 12 extensions, but there were 4 times when it was inspected and there was progress, noted significant progress. And then if you look at the letter, like this list of repairs that he's made on the property are extensive. And granted, they might not all be the code violations that we want him to prioritize, but I think that based upon his testimony about his income difficulties, his time difficulties, I think that we really need to consider all that he has done on this property and whether we want to put a third administrative penalty that is $1,000 and carries the weight of criminal charges onto somebody who's made such significant progress for a property. And I think that, if I'm correct, it's not currently occupied.
No,
It's not
I'm not renting it out.
Okay. And you're considering the sale because of your financial concerns?
Like, again, we bought it for my son. He lived there for 3 years. But then he got relocated. So now this, this house sits empty. But I don't want to rent it when it's not 100% ready to rent. But at the same token, with this, the codes kind of piling up and the stuff that needs done, it's like, it's now become a burden for us because it does still cost me like $800 a month in, mortgage, property tax, all the stuff. So it's just, yes, it's a burden now. So now we think we want to try to sell to.
Sharon?
Okay, to finish up here, you say you're in construction?
Mm-hmm.
Do you work, is it owner construction, or do you work for someone?
I work for someone now, yes.
Okay, what kind of construction are you in?
I do flooring.
Flooring? Okay. Now, you say you didn't have any money to pay the $600, the first 2 fines, but you had money to spend on the inside of the house, okay? That doesn't make any sense there.
I have no true excuse for not paying. It was something I kind of just, in my head, I'm thinking, like, once I get all these codes figured out, then I'll, pay the money. It's not like, I'm not trying to get away from this, paying the 600. It's,
And then, so, like I said, you spent the money inside. Your priorities are all mixed up because you got to get these violations off your back.
well, you say priorities mixed up, and I understand there are code violations, but at the same token, we had to make a place livable for my son to live. I mean, again, this place was not even close to being livable on the inside.
Did he ever live in the house?
Yes, he did,
For how long?
for 3 years.
3 years?
2.5 years.
Did he
I
ever?
don't know the exact.
Okay, did he ever help you with the repairs?
Yes, there was times he did, but again, he's an early 20s kid who, it's hard to get.
Okay. Okay, well, here's where I stand on this. You've had like 12 extensions, and the city's been very good to you with granting all these extensions, and you've ignored some of the communications and things like that, so I'm not willing to give you until October to finish this up. We're not going to drag this out. This has been dragging out for 2 years now, and you're just ignoring the fines and everything else. You've got money to spend inside, but no money to pay your
I haven't
fines.
spent any money inside for the last year and a half. Not anything. Most of the stuff that I've been doing, I've already purchased or have. Like that little outbuilding has a bunch of material that I have gotten years ago for the house.
Okay, well, I'm gonna intervene here right
Okay.
now. So we're actually here today for the third administrative penalty. So whatever you work out with the code enforcement, that is strictly up to you. But I need to know, where do you guys stand as far as this third administrative penalty?
I would give some leeway on this. I would give him one more extension to get this done and pay his fines before we take him to court and charge him $1,000. If he can show where he's going.
He paid that $600 before now. That one even got him here. Had he paid the $600 in the beginning.
He didn't pay it.
That's what I'm saying. Had you
Yeah.
paid it, we wouldn't be here.
I know
We were
it.
discussing 1,000.
That's what I mean. So-
But the 600 is not before us today, so we have to address, all we have to address today is the 1,000.
I want the $1,000 to be some kind of incentive for him to get this done, if he wants this waived. We have the power to waive it, okay? But we're not going to drag this out, because you've had 12 extensions so far. So I would make this a motion that if you pay your 2 fines and you get this done within a month or 2 months at the most, we'll waive the $1,000 fine. That's where I stand on this. I don't want to be going out until October on this, and then you say, well, the weather's bad now, we got to take this out until springtime. No.
Is there any way you would think to the end of October?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So, and you had indicated that you by the end of the year, paint is not going to be good under 50 degrees. So when would you even look at painting? Like the accessory building that needs the majority of the paint?
I was hoping to do as much as I can in October, early November.
Okay, because again, with weather issues
No, I understand.
fastly approaching, I'm concerned
But I
about
got,
you paint it and then turn around in the spring of next year, have to repaint it because we know that paints are not going to adhere well if you're under 50 degrees. So, and that's the only thing I was asking, so.
I just wanted to tell the gentleman here, we are willing to work with you if we see progress and communication with this inspector. This guy, the inspector, is wasting his time coming out every month and nothing's done and no communication. That doesn't ride with us. So if you're making progress with what's going on there and you pay your fines and everything, we'll work with you. But if you're going to ignore us, we're not. Now, you got this.
I was ignoring him as much as was commented, but I do understand, yes.
So from my understanding, all we can do right now is taper this or move it out, because like I said, the 2 penalties were not brought to us. So we just can't throw them in today. So
I'm sorry,
you got a question or a motion?
motion.
Okay, what is it?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until the end of October, which is the timeline that he felt comfortable with for some of this, and revisit it at that time. I do not think that we should go any sooner than that based upon his distance from us and the time that he does not have. I would like to make a motion to table until the end of October.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. And all we're tabling, just for the understanding, is just for the administrative penalty at this time. That the third administrative penalty. So you would have to work with the inspector to get what you need to have done, or you will be seeing us again in October, and I don't think you want to do that.
No, I don't.
So it's been moved and second, all in favor signify by saying.
May I make one comment if
Yes,
I
sir.
could before we vote?
Mhm.
And the comment is, generally, we have to have this information in front of us by 15 October, right? 2 weeks prior.
Yeah,
Late October, we can still get some warm weather. I'd like to modify the motion to say November, at our November meeting. That would give you until essentially the 1st of November to get it done. You said you're going to get to it in October.
Do I need to modify my motion? Is that,
That's what I'd like to do, is let's give him until,
The end of November?
he has to, he'll have to have it done complete 100% by 15 November in order for us to get the packets at the end of November.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, I'd
that
like
right?
to modify my motion.
You're looking at Thanksgiving holiday.
Well,
Okay,
I
are we
think
not going to have a
can-
meeting in November? Is that,
Just,
we'll
he'll work with,
Is that a drop dead date, October,
okay.
or
well,
he gets fined?
I made a recommendation.
It's the
for you to consider.
recommendation, but, 1 second, Mr. Stewart wants to speak, so,
Sure. So we have 2 pending motions.
yes,
There's a motion to amend, which needs to be seconded,
okay.
and then
Second.
voted on. And then if the amendment passes, then you have to vote on the amended motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I made a motion. Is that what you're talking about? I made
We're talking about Don's motion, so, all right,
I second Don's, and
so,
That motion was seconded. His motion has not yet been seconded.
I second.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Jenny-
I second both
she
motions.
second both motions.
Got it.
So we are taking off first motion. We have now had a second motion that's been amended to November. It has been moved and it has been seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
No opposed?
One opposed.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
she got to know I got you. Roll call,
Ms. Gamblin?
yes.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Mazunga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now, are we good?
Stu said we have to do the
That was the
original.
motion to amend, so now there's
Right.
The original.
a motion to give him until November.
Okay, so that motion is now back on the table for the motion to move to November.
I would like to, I think we should establish a hard date of, say, 15 November. Because when we say November, is
Yeah,
it first or 30th?
Well, we're tabling to our next meeting, so,
Yeah, so.
But he, Mr.,
Yeah,
that's
he needs to
fine.
understand
November,
it has
that's
to be done.
fine. He need a date, November 15th. So I got a motion for November 15th.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Wait a minute. You forgot discussion.
Yes.
What discussion?
My discussion.
okay.
Well, we have to approve the motion first.
Well, I thought it was seconded already.
No.
It's time for
Okay.
question.
We had to approve the amended. That's the first one. Now we are in for November, for the 15th. That's what we have.
Okay, just so there's a discussion afterwards.
Oh, we can have a
Okay.
discussion afterwards. So the motion has been moved and second. All in favor
No.
signify by
You
saying
gotta say
aye.
discussion first.
Discussion first.
So you amended her motion twice.
This is the second
That's what-
This
amendment.
is the second amendment. So now
That's
you got a
most-
first and a second on the second amendment. Now you gotta have discussion on that amendment, the November 15th
Okay.
date.
All right, now I want a clarification on this, what Don just did. Is this a drop dead?
I think
If he
so.
doesn't have this done by your date in November, then,
And Ron will verify that.
and we're going to fine him $1,000.
Yes.
And he's going to court.
We'll have a meeting, and
Is that the correct, is that correct?
No.
No, this body cannot bind a future version of itself. That's what you're asking it to do. You're asking this body to commit to something in the future. It could change its mind between now and then. That's what's allowed.
I just don't want this to continue on.
But we don't have the power to sit in the court anyway. All we do is make the motion if we're going to approve the penalty or not. So that is something that what he's saying is we have to revisit that back in November. He has a date of November 15th. If it's not done, when he goes out on November 15th, then Brian will send him back to us on our November meeting, and then we will address the third penalty
Okay.
at that time.
All
That's
right.
what we're doing.
Okay,
Am I-
That's good?
that's it.
Am I-
That's kinda correct?
Yes.
Am I eligible for discussion?
Yes.
My question is what requirements is the board going to have of him? Is this going to be completely done? Or,
That'll be up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Completely done.
If it ain't
Completely done.
I'm just looking at as far as,
Well, that's what we have you-
what their expectation.
We're having you to understand, so if it's something that you are not clear on, then you need to reach out to code enforcement, but as of right now, I'm gonna make it perfectly clear. November 15th, you need to have everything done, if not, you will be back to see us. And as I said before, it is not gonna be good. That's
So
what I'm
make
saying.
sure you communicate with Mr. Ron, okay? Just communicate, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you don't have to see these nice faces.
Yeah, okay, and at the end of the day, I need a motion, or his motion is out there, I need to
All in
get-
favor.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposed. Roll call, Ms.
Gamblin?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Mazunga?
yes.
Okay, motion passes.
That was on the
Still
second
have to-
amendment.
you
Oh, this
still
is
have to
second
vote
amendment?
On the actual motion. You just voted on the second amendment of the
No, we
November
voted-
15th.
We gotta vote one more time, just do it.
Okay, we
You
gonna do, okay.
need
All in
three-
favor?
You need 3 votes.
Okay,
All in favor?
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposed. Roll call.
Ms. Gamblin,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Sharai,
Yes.
Ms. Warner.
Yes.
Ms. Mazunga.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All the motions passed. Thank the Lord. Okay. Now, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.